Hello folks, actually welcome to my channel. Today we will do a step-by-step analysis of the Imo State Supreme Court judgment. Now, one of the first things you have to understand is that this election was actually conducted around March 9th, 2019 to be precise, and there were 70 candidates who actually registered for this election. And of those 70 candidates, we had 4 of them who scored re-votes, right? We had the likes of APC candidates, we had the likes of PDP candidates, we had the likes of Abga candidates, and we had the likes of Uche and Nwosu of the National Alliance candidates. So the total number of registered voters, to be precise, was 2,221,008 persons, and the total number of votes, both those that were rejected and those that actually counted, was 739,485, and those that were rejected was over 25,000, and the one of that were valid are over 714,000. To be precise, 714,335, right? And if you compare the total people that came out to vote and the total registered voters, you see that there's a very sharp decline. So you're talking about over 2 million, and the people that came were less than 750,000. And people no more have faith in the electoral system. Even INEC itself knows. They had a conference recently where they were saying that the voter participation is becoming low. And the question is, why should people vote, right? Because number one, you're voting for somebody who is only going to show up once in every 4 years. When he needs to vote again, he shows up. Number two, you risk being killed. Number three, your vote does not count, right? Like Stanley said something. He said, it is not those that vote that count, it is those that count the vote. What? That count. That is the Nigerian problem today. So let's go to the second thing. Well, the president of the National Alliance actually coming second by number of lawful votes, and he said that he demanded they were wrong, and because he had the issues, but in his case was dismissed. We have the likes of Abga actually coming out to say the elections was marked by irregularities, there was no compliance with the provisions of the Electoral Act, and then there were, but he could not provide a witness, so his case was actually struck out. Now, APC said INEC omitted or failed to record some of its votes from the 338 polling units. Now, this is something that we really look at, because 3 persons contesting against the one who scored the highest vote, the candidate of National Alliance, his case was struck out because he did not provide sufficient witness. The one of Abga, there was no sufficient witness also. So we'll focus on the one of APC. Now, at the trial, there were no correlation agents to show results. And let me just give you a quick rundown of the story. Here is Senator Imo Uzodinma coming out and saying that I have polling unit agents, and I believe that INEC omitted some of my results. Now, INEC is coming out to say, well, we cancelled the elections in those places because the officers from those places came and told us that there were irregularities, there were violence, and therefore the results from those places cannot be accepted. And now we talk about very, very grave issue. Now, each of those agents under cross-examination manifested ignorance of the content of the documents and never convinced anybody of being present in the claimed polling units. So you are seeing people that were brought forward, they could not convince anybody that they were actually present in the case. Now we'll keep going. So these witnesses were called to testify in respect of the disputed 288 polling units where the petitioner tendered what he called pick copies of election results. Now, he said he had pick copies of the election results. Now, INEC replied by saying results from these polling units were cancelled by violence and all that. Here is what each of the witnesses admitted when INEC said those results were fake. Now listen. The names and signatures of the presiding officers were not well found on those results. You know how they do these results. It's not just enough that you say you scored 1 vote here. Every single party agent who was there, they have to do what? they have to consent, and then the presiding officer have to take what has been consented and from everybody has consented to, and then submit it. But this was lacking. The names and the signatures of other party agents did not appear on the what? On the result sheet, like what I said. Neither could they mention even one party agent of the only other political parties in those votes. So are you saying that, okay, let's say for example there are 70 parties and 4 of them scored consequential votes. Now, do you mean that of these other territory that they do not have party agents in those places? That was something that was a major flaw. Now the result sheets did not contain the total number of ballot papers used and the number of ballot papers unused or invalid. The scores of political parties are not clear on the face of the election. So the score was not even clear. And that was actually a very, very big one. Now the election tribunal dismissed the case based on these irregularities that was actually presented. Now the petitioner called 27 local government agents who tendered only the local government collation results which were not in issue. They only contain a summary of ward results and not polling unit results. Each of these local government collation agents of the petitioner admitted not being present at the polling unit when they purported the results. They are said to have what? Emanated. You said the flaws. Now they also admitted to be absent at the ward collation centers when the results from those polling units were collated. And the tribunal found their evidence as hearsay and completely unhelpful in resolving the issue of whether there was exclusion of results at the ward collation centers or not. And their case was actually dismissed. Why? Because of what I said. You cannot bring up results where no other party was present, where the figures of other political parties was not found. It's not possible. You are not the only one who considered the election, right? Let's talk something. Now, since the whole Uzodinma testified as he gave global evidence of what transpired in polling units across the state. He admitted to be present only in his polling unit, and that what he actually tendered was what his agent actually told him. Now, another witness also gave global witness, which is Senator Ihedioha. Now, the most controversial of all these witnesses was one Rabbi Hussein, who was a deputy commissioner of police that was serving in the state. Now, this is something that needs to be looked into. Who was serving in the state during the time where the primaries of this governorship election was being done to the time where the actual election was done. I don't know why things like this happen. Now, the man came from, because he was transferred, so he was transferred to Makurdi State. And he said that he came based on a subpoena. And when I checked the meaning of subpoena, he came based on the fact that there was an order from him to come. Now here's what he said. He admitted not to be present, he admitted not to be present in any of the 388 polling units, which he was subpoenaed to produce results. When the results were counted, what was found was 266 and not 388. You see the irregularities? You see that it was not correlating? Now, he admitted not to have ever touched or know the content of the document. I tell somebody to go and present a document that he has not touched. It's like I bring this thing to the law court and say, well, I believe this thing is somebody's own, and you've not touched it. He admitted that he was not on duty the day that he was compelled to testify. Now, Ihedioha's agent countered the policeman, saying that those results were cancelled by what? By malpractice. And it gets interesting. And then what makes it amazing so far was the head of operations and logistics. He actually came out and said that he distributed sensitive and non-sensitive materials to electoral officers in each local government, who in turn distributed the stuff to the presiding officers. Then he tendered a list of presiding officers, which was evidence as to show that the 388 polling units could not have been issued by authentic presiding officers. So you see the irregularities. He also tendered INEC incident form. So in case the incident form is the kind of form that comes up in case there are irregularities and all that, a form that people fill. Now, in all the tabulation shown, the petitioners scored themselves. And listen, so to hope with the scroll, they scored themselves over 98% of the votes, when actually what INEC said they scored was less than 13%. They had to dismiss all petitions by local government officers and the police for lack of what? Evidence. That's what the court had to do. Now, at the Supreme Court, Uche Nwosu withdrew his appeal on grounds of double party candidature. And now listen. The Supreme Court upheld that Uche Nwosu was the duly nominated candidate of the APC. But an appeal by Ihedioha said that the case, but an appeal later said that the case should be brushed aside. Now, the Supreme Court has exposed, now listen, we're ending this case here. The Supreme case had expressed worry and concerns that in each of these appeals, there were volumes of records which were yet to be read or studied. The Supreme Court declared the judgment, declared that the judgments declared by the two lower courts were wrong, and ordered that the results from the 388 polling units would be added. Now, when the Supreme Court gave the reason for the judgment, what was said before the open court was different from the 42-page document that the Supreme Court actually published for the reasons why they had to do that. You see all this being put together. What conclusion can you actually make? That you are altering that election results from 388 polling units that could not be verified by other party agents. Now, INEC said it's not from them. You are ordering that it be added. So it means tomorrow, if I contest an election, I could bring my party agent to produce a pink copy, right? Just like the one of APC had. And INEC can be ordered to add them, which is not good. Now, there are things here. Nigeria is the only country in the world that has more electoral cases than any other nation. Nobody agrees to lose. The one who won election says that there's no violence. The one who loses says that there is violence. There is a big problem in Nigeria. So this case is going to be revisited on Tuesday, and we hope to know what these people are up to. So guys, I'll end the video here. Thank you.